Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. What's up, J-Sup? What's up, the Sticks? What's up, Campbell Jones? Week 13 of the NFL season. Big week coming up this week. I'm ready for it. We started off Thursday with the Bills covering, and I was shocked how that game moved down to -3.5. I did post on Instagram. There is a so-called group of sharps that for some reason people fear, who always back down the Patriots lines. But even I was a little bit shocked with this one. With the Minnesota one, we understood. We still dipped our hand in the cookie jar and stole the cookie and ate from them. But I was shocked with how this went from Buffalo -6 to Buffalo -3.5. I know we were all on that. That was a nice little rain dance we did on Thursday night. They said we can't win on Thursday night. We won three weeks in a row on Thursday night. Hope everyone's doing good. What's up, Stevie Ray? What's up, Jack? What's up? What's up, Tasha? Blogger culture. Yo, what up, my boy? I'm feeling good, man. I just watched Brazil. Got a little jog on the beach today trying to lose some of this weight. Been going over the spreads, Patreon contest, win John Lawson's money. Those will be up tonight on Patreon. I know Patreon booted some of you guys out. I'm going to talk about that once it gets later in the show. It's just big companies doing scummy things. What's up, Nick 305? What's up, Matt Reynolds? Shout out to Matt Reynolds. What's up, Lawson? Let's get that cheese. Can I get a shout out? You got it. Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this week. We got the Patreon questions rolling in. I'll get to them, and I want to get some of you guys on tonight. Definitely want to hear how you guys are feeling going into week 13. I'll start with the first question. One Calico, doing an 8-game parlay this weekend. Should I focus on the money line or mix it up with the spread over under and money line? I would do money line, but can I be honest with you, my guy? I don't care if you pick pure favorites like -500s for the money line. That 8-game parlay probably isn't going to hit. Not trying to be a negative Nancy, but that probably won't hit. Like an 8-game parlay, if you bet just spreads, has a 1.8% chance of hitting. But I'm sure I'm not going to talk you out of it, so I would go money line. Money line, maybe you get like 6-7% chance depending on the games you pick. Okay. I appreciate it. What's up, Slurry? What's up, Slurry? Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Yeah, Calico, you're not really losing, so to speak. You could be like 62% against the spread, which is upper echelon, which is elite, which is like the Tom Brady of sports betting. And you could lose betting 8-game parlays. Like that's why before the year started, I laid out the math of it. And just ask yourself this question, just to everyone at home. You know, why does FanDuel push these same-game parlays? Why do we always hear parlay, parlay, parlay? Well, we know why. That's where they make the majority of their profits. 40 to 45% of casino profits are just with parlays. Single bets, if you just bet one spread, that's like 3% of their profit. So you see how that's changing the difference. And like I said, you know, one thing they don't want to tell you about this game is if you're between 58% and 62%, you're elite. And, you know, like it's counterintuitive, right? You know, you're only right 62% of the time in any other line of work, and you're an absolute bum. but not with this. YouTube user, let's go, Casey. Let's get this money, Lawson. Yeah. Injury report looked a little bit better today. I don't think we're going to get Kadarius Toney against the Bengals. Looks like the Bengals will get Jamar Chase, but that doesn't change my analysis. I'm still liking Chiefs -2. I wonder if the spread moved today. I saw in some books it was Chiefs -2.5. On PointsBet, it's down to Chiefs -1.5. Yeah, so. Campbell Jones, Lawson, what do you think about the Chiefs versus Bengals game? I did a separate video on it early today, but we might as well just kick off with it. I think Chiefs win. I don't think it's going to be an easy game. I don't think it's a game we should pump the college fund on or anything like that, but it definitely is a money pick for the Chiefs to win. Maybe some people were scared away from the Chiefs last week against the Rams. I wasn't. It felt like Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes were taking it easy on the Rams last week, especially if you watch their red zone offense. We know the Rams had Perkins at quarterback. It was absolute ugliness. It was a monstrosity. But with that being said, I just think the Chiefs will play better defense than the Bengals. And I know the Bengals fans came on the show in full grit, full yell, saying I'm a Bengals hater when I'm not. We bet the Bengals against the Steelers. And one thing about the Bengals that no one wants to talk about is Awuzie's been hurt at corner, and I think he's out for the whole year. I don't think Cincinnati's got the corner. And everyone knows I'm not like a big Chiefs guy. Everyone who watches the show knows that. I just think this is the right spot to take them. And I also, Bengals offensive line played good last week against Tennessee. I was wrong about that. But you want to roll that dice 2 straight times? Freshness. Just bet the Chiefs. Get a Coke this Sunday. What's up, my man? Hope everything's good with you. Yeah, man, always good to see you, man. I'll definitely get a Coke. They're trying to push Diet Pepsi here. They're putting it at a really low price in Brazil, so I think I'll pick 2 of those up. Chiefs have been good in December, and also we always see these teams start peaking at the right time. You remember when Cincinnati peaked last year at the right time? It's probably why the Sharps were betting the Patriots last night, thinking they're peaking at the right time, thinking, Belichick's time is when it's late November, December. But we have to see instances. I do want to address something. I do want to address something right now. Lay off that Miami game. Unless you guys have different news than me, lay it off. If you're going to bet it back San Fran, I have to make this really clear right now while I have you guys here. It looks like Teron Armstead won't play for Miami. He was listed as doubtful on the injury report. Mike McDaniel was saying he might play today. He's got a shot. I don't know if I like those odds. Then also the right tackle is out. I love it. I love the Dolphins here at +4, but that's a little bit too much risk for me to bite off. I have to be honest about it. I don't like the way that's going. And we have to respect San Fran. I think they got the best defense in the line. I mean, you could argue and say Dallas has the best defensive line in the league. I won't split hairs, but be cautious about that Miami game. Watch that injury report. If you're dead set on betting Miami, just make sure you follow it down Sunday morning. The spread's not going to move against you. If anything, it's going to be +4.5, +5. So don't panic on the Miami game. You got to wait and see if those left and right tackles are going to play, especially Armstead, man. Especially Armstead. Okay. Here we go. It's starting to look like the Niners now as it goes on. Yeah, and it's just And Freshness was talking about Jets, Vikings. This is another one I got a lot of resistance with this week, and I don't understand why. I don't understand why. People even sent me individual emails. I appreciate the emails. I really appreciate it. But to go through the rigmarole to send me an email saying the Jets are going to win, man, I guess I have to address it. Listen, respect for the Jets, respect for Sauce Gardner, respect for Bob Saleh, respect for their whole defense. But you want to know what I don't have respect for? Zach Wilson, Mike White, this run game without Breece Hall and Elijah Vera Tucker. And then everyone's trying to throw stats at me and say, Vikings have the worst pass defense. When have I said the Vikings were able to cover anyone, especially in the nickel areas of defense? When have I said that? When? But, you really think the Vikings defense is worse than the Bears defense that is actively tanking and trading players away by the day? You really think that? And Mike White goes out, plays good against the Bears. We've been calling for Zach Wilson's head since week 4 or 5, and people thought we were being harsh about it. So Mike White comes out, plays good, and everyone gets overly excited. Vikings will have a pass rush against him. The worst pass rush in this league at the moment is either the Texans or the Chicago Bears. So there will be a lot more resistance, and I do think my Vikings are due for a win. It is similar to what happened last week. Remember last week, even Freshness is a Pats fan. Just to give an example, I saw his comment on the Thanksgiving video last week. He's like, I'm riding with you on the Vikings. I'm riding with you on the Vikings. And it's one of those similar type of games. I feel like people have been overrating the Patriots the whole year, and they're overreacting about the Jets, and they're forgetting why the Jets won those games. Running the damn ball. And I just haven't seen the same Jets offense since Breece Hall was there. I don't think putting in Mike White for Zach Wilson changes the scheme of things. I'm not saying Mike White's not going to play a little bit better, but that's not saying much when we look at Zach Wilson and how horrible that man has been. So, yeah, that's my take on that game. I'll let you guys talk about it. James Rhymes, don't listen to other people. Canceled my bets last night. That would have made me 1,700 because my bro bet same players and canceled his on the logic that I later learned was really shitty. Yeah, you got to trust yourself. I'm a good researcher, but at the end of the day, you got to trust yourself. That's why I don't get butthurt if people go against me. I really don't. You have to trust yourself. And there's so many different ways to view a football game. Some of the ways are absolutely asinine and have nothing to do with the game of football, but there are 4 or 5 legit ways to analyze any sort of football game. There really is. And there's so many factors in it, and that's why betting NFL is absolutely beautiful. Yeah. And, one thing that has lost a lot of people money and that I've been fighting against since this show has been on air is the Patriots. People betting the Patriots because sharps bet the Patriots. That's one thing I've been fighting against for a while, and we've won duffel bags upon duffel bags upon duffel bags of money fading the Patriots since Tom Brady left. Duffel bags. Duffel bags. Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this week. I'm looking forward to this week. We got some good games to tease as well. Good questions on Patreon. Chiefs Bengals should be a good game. Miami 49ers should be a damn good game. Luke Woods, what's up, Lawson? I think we got to talk about Miami. I see them winning outright. Let alone covering that plus 4.5. Are you trying to say you don't see Miami covering, let alone winning? Yeah, man, that's what I addressed when I came on here. I'm worried about Teron Armstead. I'm worried about the starting right tackle, which is to his blind side. Until we get definitive information on that, no one should be pulling the trigger. Of course, I picked the games Tuesday. I am held to those type of standards, and I like betting early. I like getting the picks in early. I get the bigger ones in later in the week on Patreon. But betting early helps. But this Miami injury situation at the left and right tackle is one of those instances where it will hurt you. Jocks was an instance last week when we got him against the Bears where Tuesday betting really, really helps. Just to give an example. Yeah, Johnny says White started 4 games last year, 8 picks. Yeah. And listen, you guys allow me to do the grunt work. Like, I get to go watch Mike White starts. A lot of people just don't have the time. And you want to know what? There's better things to do in your life than to watch Mike White last year against the Colts. Just to give an example. I do think we're seeing way too much Mike White hype, way too much hype from the New York media about him. And it's because they hyped Zach Wilson up. Did we ever fall for the Zach Wilson stuff? Be honest. Did we ever fall for that stuff? I recall all year, even when the Jets were winning games, even when the Jets were covering spreads, I was on here saying the dude's a bottom 3 starter in the league. You know, he's worse than a bottom 3 starter in the league. Let's be honest about it. Bengals plus 5.5. Well, that's not what the spread is, Fresco. Unless you're teasing it, but I mean, come on, it's not a great price to tease at unless you're putting other stuff in it. Yeah, okay. Okay, here we go. Let's get to some Patreon questions. Yeah, that was my piece tonight. And also, I want to Patreon, if you repeat, if you were on auto renew for Patreon, they kicked you off because they raised the price 50 cents. I did not raise the price. I did not touch it. It stayed firm at $5. So if you got kicked off, it's because of that. So I guess you have to go create a new username. Contest starts tonight. I will post the games tonight for the contest. First place, 500 piece. Second place, 200. Third place, 100. Let's get it. Timothy Wilson, thanks, Tim. Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it, man. I'm glad I can help you win some money. I'm gonna be losing 800 this week with this contest, but it's worth it. I like seeing you guys fight it out. It's always good. I already picked the spreads I'm going to post. I'm going to throw in 2 or 3 over-unders. Like I said, this will probably take 2, 3, or 4 weeks. If you're not on Patreon, link in the description. And can someone get me an update on the Miami injury report? Because I'm doing the show. I can't get on the computer. I was looking at it earlier today. Okay, let's get to the Patreon questions. Okay. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Patreon link in the description. $5 a month. Okay, let's get to it. Let's get to it. Okay. Lino Frosto. Hey, John, how's it going, brother? Hope you keep stacking this paper for us. Let's get it big time. Let's hope the Raiders keep up the locker room towel snapping. Yeah. That Raiders game is pure stay away from me, though. I was actually thinking about teasing it this week, and then it moved the opposite direction. It moved the Raiders -1. Listen, we hit that upset with the Raiders last week against the Hawks, but we got to be careful with them. We have to be extremely careful with the Raiders because I know you guys have your questions. I certainly have my questions. This is from Star Time. What's up, Star? Lawson, this is the Texans Super Bowl. You think they can cover the number? Deshaun, first game in 700 days. And he gets 7 on the road. Pretty wild. It actually is wild the way you phrase that question. I still like the Browns to cover the game. And, I know the big story is Deshaun Watson, those women, they're coming to the game with the lawyer and all that stuff. And it turned into a complete sideshow. And I did see Deshaun Watson's preseason game. He was horrendous. He was out of rhythm. All those things are completely true and they're completely happening. But my analysis for this game has very little to do with Deshaun Watson. What it has a lot to do about is this Texans run defense is terrible. They can't stop anyone. And when you got Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt coming at you 25 to 30 times a game, I think they'll end up leaking. I think the Browns will get big plays in the run game. And Star, football, my guy. When you get the run game going, that makes it easier for Deshaun. That makes it easier to get the play action game going. I just think Stefanski will get Deshaun in a better rhythm. I think us judging that performance against Jacksonville in the preseason, it's relevant, but it's also kind of a mistake. Preseason, you don't game plan. Obviously, he's going to be rusty against the Texans, but the Texans are really bad. And one thing I've been reiterating for the last 4 or 5 weeks, there are 2 teams tanking now. But for a long time, there's only one team tanking in the NFL, and it was the Houston Texans. That Miami minus 12.5, minus 13 last week, I didn't like making a money pick. But a big factor of us making that a money pick on Tuesday was just due to the fact that the Texans are a non-competitive entity. And I do feel like they've thrown in the towel. I do feel like they've given up. And the Texans got good young players in the secondary. They got a good running back. But other than that, I'm not seeing many sparks on the team. And to attack and beat the Browns defense, the big problem with the Browns this year wasn't Jacoby Brissett. It was that defense, specifically the secondary. Do you think Kyle Allen's going to throw it against the Browns secondary? I don't see it. I think he'll give the Browns a little bit of a scare, but at the end of the day, the Browns will get more stops than the Texans. I think Browns win this game 10, 13, 14 points. I'm not saying the Browns come in here, blow them out, but I do believe they cover the spread, and I'm not wavering on it. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, I just think Chubb's going to go off this game, and I really like the Chubb over player props, whatever the hell they are. I haven't seen them yet. Texans aren't even trying, man. And I was not wrong 4 weeks ago when I said they were the only team tanking. I was not wrong at all. Been wrong about some stuff this year, but I certainly wasn't wrong about that. Okay, this is from Lino. In order for the jet sweep play to be successful, who on the O-line has to be balls on perfect for the play to be a success? For me, it's their left guard. Blanking on the name, but for me, man, the problem with the Jets, firstly, we've been hitting on Zach Wilson all year. I feel like we hit that dead horse to death. But one problem with the Jets, for me, man, is when Elijah Vera Tucker and Breece Hall got hurt the same week. Elijah Vera Tucker was one of the best guards in the league, especially if we're talking about in the run game. They're going to be without him. No Breece Hall. He's not coming back until next year. Both of those guys are out for the season. And I just don't know if the Jets get their run game going. They weren't able to get it going against the Pats. Even the Bills ran it last night against the Pats. I mean, look at what the Bears did running the ball against the Pats. Jets couldn't even move an inch. So I do think the Vikings are going to make Mike White beat them, and I do think Mike White will make a few plays, but not enough to beat the Vikings. DeAndre Pittman. Next year, if I did a college football list and was a proven winner, would you like to collaborate with me? What do you mean by list? Yeah, I'm always open. I'm always open to hear ideas. It's just, um, I bet high amounts of money. So if I am following your picks, I kind of have to have a certain level of trust. Like, you know, I, I have viewers like JSUP, for instance. Freshness, I've known them like 2 years. And if they tell me to bet the first half of the game, or if they tell me they're going in on a game, it has a certain amount of weight. But I have seen you on Patreon and you do know what you're talking about. And it's never bad to have a little bit of college football. For me, man, I just focus clearly on NFL. Clearly on NFL. World Cup, I've been watching. I've only put in one World Cup bet so far. We're down to the final 16 of the World Cup. I'm going to start spraying some bets. I know you guys were hungry for action. It's just, I want to, when we swing, when we pounce, I want to hit. I want to hit, man. I don't want to be like that, be the leopard who leaps down from the tree and doesn't connect with the prey. Okay, here we go. The stats, NC, any changes on your thoughts on the Jags versus Lions game since Tuesday? Not a whole lot. All I know is I'm not going to bet it. All I know is I'm not going to bet it. I do think people are counting the Lions out a little bit unfairly to this game. And I'm hearing people say, well, when the Lions lose a close game, they come out emotionally exhausted the next week and absolutely get their ass kicked. I understand that, especially when we're talking about the Dan Campbell era, but that doesn't have that much weight for me. And, we like the Lions more than other people. We like the Jags more than other people. And it's been like that this whole year. And that's why we covered a lot of spreads with them. That's why I'm saying I think we should just sit this one out. I know everyone wants to go Jags in this game. I completely understand it. And it looks like Etienne will play, but I am worried about Etienne's injury. I am worried about the Jags having run-pass balance. And I do think the Lions will be able to have some success running the ball. And everyone wants to talk about how bad this Lions defense is, and they're completely right. But they have been getting better. They have been improving. But we should focus on how bad this secondary has been for the Jags. I mean, the Jags secondary gave up 400 yards to Matt Ryan. Can you imagine Matt Ryan getting 400 yards? I had to watch the film to believe it. Blew a lead to Matt Ryan. I mean, so this Jags defense, even though they got a great pass rush, the pass rush fades. And it looks like the Lions will get their starting offensive lineman back. Don't quote me on that. I just think that's one to stay away. I know people are gearing up to go big on the Jags. I'm just not in that group. Here we go. Ace, Rely, Magic Entertainment. 49ers are on the warpath, John. Proceed with caution. Yeah, you're right. But they're also leaving teams in games, a la the Chargers, a la the Saints. I just feel like we haven't seen a complete 49ers performance this whole year. And when they did play one explosive offense, the Kansas City Chiefs, they got absolutely blown the fuck out. Now, let's be fair. A lot of defensive line injuries. I believe Bosa did play that game. They weren't at full strength, but who the hell is at full strength? But I am proceeding with cautions due to the injuries on the Miami Dolphins offensive line. It is a completely fair warning, my guy. I'm not bashing you at all. I appreciate it. This is from Mikhail. What's up, Mikhail? My man, Mikhail in the house. It wasn't Wilson going in there. It was Josh Allen. I don't care about the elbow. They are who we thought they were. The hoodie is finished. I love it. Jay Law, what's up, my brother? Did you see Ronaldo with his ridiculous games? How you feeling about these Browns, man? I guess Watson coming back is bigger than I thought. And I bet the Vikings hard. No science. It's the Jets. I mean, come on, wipe my ass. Mikhail, I agree with you on the Vikings. And I remember last week you put a huge bet on the Vikings to beat the Patriots. I was trying to give the hints to everyone to send out the dogs to bet the Vikings on Thanksgiving night. I was trying to. I don't know if everyone got the memo. I'm feeling good about the Browns, man, and everyone wants to make this about Deshaun Watson throwing the ball. Everyone wants to make this about controversy and, what people do in massage rooms and all that type stuff. No, I'm not really thinking about that. What I'm thinking about is how the hell are the Texans front seven going to stop Nick Chubb? The Texans haven't stopped anyone's run the whole year, especially after they started tanking 4 or 5 weeks ago. And I'm looking at Kyle Allen. Listen, maybe he gives the team a little bit of juice. Maybe he helps them a little bit more than Davis Mills. But I don't know. I don't know how much he adds. And we've been saying all year, this Browns defense has its issues. They're extremely vulnerable. That secondary is garbage. But is Kyle Allen the man to take advantage of those weaknesses? I don't think so, man. I don't think so. Don't think so. Here we go. Derek says, money. What's up, Derek? Hey, bro, what are you most confident in for Survivor pick this week? Seahawks. Oh, I've got the Vikings, Browns, or Packers left. I can use Browns. Vikings softy, Texans playing them the Super Bowl, and the Packers are awful this year. All 3 games scare me. Don't get scared about the Browns. Also, what 4 of these 6 7-point tease games do you like the most? Cleveland at a pick 'em. I like it. Green Bay plus 3.5. Let's go to the other one. Minnesota plus 4. I like Minnesota plus 4. Tennessee plus 11.5. Stay away from that. Okay, I like your Seattle plus 0, Cleveland plus 0, Mini plus 4, and give me that Green Bay plus 3.5. Hope you have a great weekend, Derek. And Derek also says, I already have a teaser locked in with Buffalo plus 3.5. Took my advice on that one. Baltimore minus 1.5. Who the fuck is Baltimore playing this week? Are Baltimore even playing this week? KC plus 5, Dallas minus 3.5. I like the KC plus 5. And Dallas is a great game to tease against the Colts. I think they absolutely obliterate the Indianapolis Colts, to be quite honest with you. Let me check to see who Baltimore's playing this week. I normally have like a photographic memory the minute I see the spreads. But they're playing the Broncos. Yeah, that's a good one to tease down. That is a very good one to tease down. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share the videos. Patreon users, contest will be open tonight. I will make a specific post about it. Your picks need to be in 12:45 p.m. Eastern time before the week 13 games. Also, Patreon, they screwed around with the auto renew. They booted some people off. They raised the rate by like 20 or 30 cents. I don't know what they did. So you have to go back on and sign on again. My bad about that. I did not know it was coming. I don't know why these corporations are so greedy, so damn stingy, just trying to take a cent from people. I didn't change the price. It's $5. It's been $5 for 2.5 years. That's what it's been. Haven't raised the price one iota. So just so you guys know, if you got booted off Patreon, it wasn't me getting emotional or anything like that, or your card not working. It was Patreon playing with the auto renew. So go back on there, link in the description. Let's get this money. Patreon contest week 13. Let's get this money. 500 for first place, 200 for second place, 100 for third place. Here we go. Thank you for the question, Derek. This is from Paulie. Forget about it. It seems like Atlanta has settled into mediocrity while the Steelers have improved. And with TJ Watt in there, it seems like a great bet. Am I missing something? Because -1 seems like a steal. I agree. We faded the Falcons last week. Yes, they gave us a little bit of blood pressure. They gave us a little bit of anxiety, but we ended up hitting the Commanders last week. That was an early bet on Patreon. We got really good numbers on that. Yeah, man, I like the Steelers here. People I respect like the Steelers, and I picked the Steelers on Tuesday, and I feel like the Steelers can run the ball. I think that's the biggest difference with their offense. One of my main criticisms early in the year, besides the quarterback play, was their lack of ability to run the ball. And it seems like Pickett's getting better as the run game gets better. And we need to remember that Atlanta defense is absolute jelly. It is about as vanilla as a defense is going to get in this damn league. You give me Tomlin in a close game, it will be low scoring because when you get Mariota against Pickett, you're not going to get to the 30s. It will be a close game. It will be trench warfare. I think the Steelers are better on defense. Give me the Steelers to win in the cover. I like it, Paulie. This is from Daniel. What's up, Dan? Do we like Nick Chubb for a big game? Because the third best quarterback in the world is back now. Appreciate your work, man. Money, money, money to finish the season. You got me fucking pumped up. Got me pumped up, Dan. Now, would I agree? Deshaun Watson the third best quarterback in the world? No, but I like the boldness. I like the vision. I like you just coming out and saying that. And I love Nick Chubb this week. I don't care if they set it at 105 over rushing yards. I don't care if they set it at 120. He's going off for like 130 this week. He's going off for 130 this week. And everyone wants to make this about Deshaun being rusty. Everyone wants to make this about a preseason game in Jacksonville after the man hasn't touched a football for like 500 days. Everyone wants to make it about that. It's not really about that. It's about Nick Chubb up the middle. It's about a Texans defense that's quit. It's about a Texans team that has tanked. It's about a Texans offense that has Kyle Allen at quarterback. It's about all of that. And I don't think the Browns are quitting. And the Browns, and listen, let's take Deshaun out of this argument for a second. Let's throw him over here. The problem with the Browns really wasn't Jacoby Brissett. It was bad secondary play and bonehead decisions on defense. I just don't think Kyle Allen's the man to exploit this secondary. I like where you're going with this, Dan. Chad Butler, how do I join the live show? I'll send you an email. Once I get through the Patreon questions, I'll get you on. Let me just send you an email right now. Yeah, like I get it. Deshaun Watson was trashing the Jags game, but like at a certain point, Matt Flynn was awesome with the Packers in the preseason, and then he gets to start with the Seahawks. Then Russell Wilson beats him out after he got like a $20 million per year deal. I mean, just preseason means nothing. I mean, it's not even a game plan. I don't think this is the Texans Super Bowl that everyone's talking about. Like, you think fucking the Texans defense has something against Deshaun Watson? Like, the last time Deshaun Watson played for that team, most of those players weren't on the team. Or do you think, like, the Texans players got triggered because Deshaun Watson did quote-unquote bad things? Like, most of those players weren't on the team the last time Deshaun Watson stepped on the field or even in that locker room. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, there's no other team in this league that has more roster turnover than the Houston Texans. Yeah, man. It's just like, I do think there'll be resistance I do think there'll be resistance. I do think it's an interesting game. I do think it has a little bit of sizzle. You guys are absolutely 100%, Mike. Everyone else in the chat, you guys are right. It's going to have some sizzle, but 98% of NFL games have sizzle. I mean, yeah, last week we had Miami to cover against the Texans, and they were up 30-0 at the end of the first half. We know that's 2% of the time in this league. We know these games are close. We know these men have a ton of pride, a ton of respect, a ton of self-respect, and they're not going to let another man roll over them and embarrass them. So I, of course, plan for that going into the game. I just don't know if there's going to be some sort of boost. I mean, will there be people in the Texans stadium this game? Probably. I mean, Tony Busby's bringing like 20 accusers of Deshaun. What is it's just I don't know, man. I don't know if that has anything to do with Nick Chubb running at the Texans front seven. I don't. And just to you guys in the chat, because it is interesting, because I do like your opinion. The Browns' main problem this year was their defense. Now, I know Jacoby Brissett's been pretty frustrating, and I'm not going to try to say he was good just because I like the guy. But I do feel like the main problem for the Browns was that secondary, and I feel like you have to throw it against them, and Kyle Allen actually isn't that bad. It's just the rest of this Texans team is terrible, and he's kind of coming into a no-win situation. Mike, I'm sure you remember Kyle Allen came in and played at Lambeau Field and damn near beat a really good Packers team. He was one play away pretty much, but that team, the Carolina had offensive line, they had weapons, they had receivers who got open. Yeah, all the Texans got is Brandon Cooks, who doesn't even try anymore. Sounds good, Lauren. I see you, Lauren. I see you, Mike. Richard Williams, what's your thoughts on Eagles Titans? If you forgot it on your other video. I got Titans to cover, Eagles to win. I got to be honest. Maybe it was a Freudian slip because I didn't mean to forget it. I actually had it written down, but my eyes just skipped over it because I do record live. I don't edit anything. I got Titans to cover, Eagles to win, but that is a game I want no part of. The reason why I got the Titans to win is because I know the Eagles, they signed Linval Joseph. The Eagles signed Ndamukong Suh, correct? They signed them both. And you would think that's going to shore up their interior run D, especially when you got Fletcher Cox in there. I just don't know if they're going to be able to stop the run. That's kind of been the main weakness of the Eagles, not stopping the run. And then you let the Packers put up 30 on you last week. So I just think Titans are able to run the ball, slow it down. Hurts wins it late. I got to be honest, man. I don't got a good read for the Eagles right now. I do not got a good read for the Eagles right now. I'm going to be completely honest. I do not got a good read for the Eagles right now. I don't think anyone really does. I had the Packers to cover last week, but what was it? A push? I mean, so I don't see a lot of edge in anything regarding the Eagles. Okay, here we go. Okay, let me get to the next Patreon question. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share the video. Good energy tonight from you guys. If you got kicked out of Patreon, it was due to auto renew. They raised it like 20 or 30 cents. I did not raise the price. I just wanted to make that really clear tonight. It wasn't me kicking anyone out. So if you want to get in on the contest, get back in before Sunday at noon. Be able to enter the contest. Let's get this money. Okay, next question. Jonathan Yim. Hey, brother, great week last week. Just your thoughts. Should I use Dallas or Cleveland? I am just scared since I bet against Houston like 3 times in a row. Just don't want to be caught in the cookie jar too many times. Thanks. Love the show as always. Are we talking money line or are we talking spread? I assume you're talking spread. I got to be honest with you guys. The more I think about it, the more I think the Cowboys are going to just absolutely capsize the Colts. It's prime time, so you always have to get a little bit nervous. I think it opened at like +9. Now it's up to +10.5. The 10.5 is a little bit of a bitch, but I'm still going Browns, but if you're worried about that, I don't think the Cowboys are bad if you're into taking those. Normally, I don't like taking those. Like, I'll take a -6. I'll take a -7. Taking Miami last week, -12.5, -13 isn't really in my character. It isn't what I like to do. But sometimes we have to do it. And this week with the Cowboys, we might have to do it. Can I give you a reason? That Colts offense lacks any sort of creativity. Okay, am I crazy here? Because I already see you guys saying that Colts offense is trash. Yeah, it's trash. But can I tell you another thing that's rather worrisome about this Colts offense? I watched that Steelers game. I watched the game before as well. Every single play of both of those games, I feel like they have 5 or 6 formations. A team who can't pass block, who can't throw, spends 80% of the game in the shotgun. No big body. I mean, you got the 2 big body tight ends, but they don't get in single back. They don't get an eye. They don't run it. There's not a lot of play action. There's nothing over 7-8 yards. Like, I'm not exaggerating. There's nothing in the air over 7 or 8 yards. And it's just one of the most ugly offenses I've seen. And you know what? I got did by Jeff Saturday with the Raiders. Okay. I got did. And you know what? Fuck Jeff Saturday. I just think the Cowboys should roll through them. I know the Cowboys have had their letdowns this year. Yeah, man, there's been a lot of letdowns for the Dallas Cowboys. Packers game is the main principal example. Throw that one up. But damn, man, if Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence don't dominate this game, then I don't know what's going on. I don't. Can anyone tell me who's going to block Micah Parsons if he's on that left side? I mean, the left side, when we talk about pass blocking for the Colts, is so damn bad. It's just, you wonder how they're going to be able to even get a first down unless Jonathan Taylor goes beast mode. And then if you're sitting in shotgun with 3 wide receivers, no one respects a pass over 10 yards, how are they going to move the ball? Crazier things have happened. Packers were in a similar situation before they played the Cowboys, but I'm not getting into voodoo. I'm not getting into anxiety pits. I'm going Cowboys winning the cover. Cowboys winning the cover. That's funny, man. That's funny. Okay, this is from Robert Village. What's up, Rob? Hope you're doing good, my man. Do we go with New Orleans Saints +4 from YouTube pick, or we stay away from now? It is at +3.5 at some places already. Rob, if you need to bet that game, if you feel the need to bet that game for a little bit of Monday night action and adrenaline, I do believe you should go the Saints, even at 3.5. But my analysis isn't a confident analysis. Here's my analysis. It's pretty much the same thing I said on the Tuesday show. I just don't feel like the Bucs can beat anyone by more than 3 points with how methodical, how prodding this offense is. Byron Leftwich wants to run the ball 50% of the time. But the big problem is every time they run the ball, it's right up the middle and they get 2 or 3 centimeters. I mean, we can't even use fucking inches with the Buccaneers run game at this point. We have to change our system and measure in centimeters. That's how little they're getting going. Now, I know the Saints are completely lost, and I would make this a money pick if they threw in Jameis. I feel like the Andy Dalton story is done. I feel like Jameis deserves a chance to get in there, but obviously that's not going to happen. If the Saints just got a little bit of quarterback play in the red zone last week, there could have been an upset on the 49ers. I mean, Andy was so bad in the red zone, it was startling. I just think this game is a stay away. If you need about it, Saints cover. This is from Ad. What's up, Ad? What's your favorite over-under this week? My favorite? I think I'm going to disagree with the chat a little bit. I think some of the chat will agree with me with some of the things they're saying about the Texans. My favorite over-under is Browns-Texans. I made it a money pick on Wednesday night's over-under video, and I don't see anything shooting me off of it. I'm looking at a Browns team that can easily get to the 30s here. I'm looking at Nick Chubb ready to eat this Texans defense. I've been talking about it all night, so I won't go over it and over it again. Then I'm looking at a Texans team, like you guys said. They're going to come out and fight. Kyle Allen can pull some stuff. Browns defense makes bonehead mistakes. Like, best example of a bonehead mistake they made is when they blew the coverage and let Joe Flacco score 2 touchdowns in under a minute. Remember that? Those are just the examples. Browns will make their mistakes. I think there's going to be 3 or 4 combined turnovers in this game. I do think this pushes towards over. I also like the under in the Jets-Vikings. Now, Vikings have been a team that goes over all year, but I do think Mike White struggles a little bit, and I also think this Jets defense gets consistent stops against the Vikings. Vikings will do enough to win. They'll do enough to scrap this, especially since Mike White's on the other side, but I really like the under 44.5. Here we go. This is from Mike Lozano. Lawson, appreciate all your work. What do you do besides money? Like to chill and relax? Yeah, man. I like to go to the beach. I like to go through walks. I walk my dog every day at the beach. I like to watch NFL. I like to watch soccer. I like to read. I like history, like philosophy. Mostly it's NFL though. Once it gets to August until February, it's just NFL, and I go for a walk or two, and I like to swim, and I like to read. That's about it. Not the most interesting guy in the world at this age. Here we go. This is from Gabriel Hammer. Lawson getting close to pulling the trigger on a college fund pick. The need for my heart racing for a couple hours. I know the feeling, my man. I know the feeling. There's been some close ones. I'll tell you what, last night, Gab, I was tempted to fucking just brush it all on the Bills. I'm not even saying that hindsight 2020 type stuff. I'm not even saying it. It's easy to say now. Everyone knows we had the Bills. Everyone saw on Instagram. I was telling everyone to bet the Bills. Go against those sharps who are betting the Patriots like they do every week and push the spread down. Yeah, we'll get one before the end of the season, my man. Gab, hope you have a good week, my man. Frito, the no names really should cover. It's down to -2. Giants look good at first, but we're late in the season now, and Washington's defense has looked pretty good. Wish I could have college fund the Bills game. I was so close, but I just couldn't do it. Yeah, I get you, Frito. And listen, I was close. We bet Washington the last 2 weeks, correct? I mean, we've had them the last 3 or 4 weeks, whether it be on the YouTube channel or on the Patreon page. I'm just a little bit nervous about it. I just think this is a good layoff situation for the no-names. And the no-names struggled to beat the Falcons last week, and Taylor Heineke really, really struggled. The Giants' defense isn't great by any means, but they're better than the Falcons. I was really, really worried by some of the throws Heineke made last week, by some of the decisions he made last week. And I'm worried about the coaching matchup in this game, man. I'm really worried about Riverboat Ron versus Dabble. Like, look at how the Giants pretty much had a full second string offensive line against the Cowboys. And Dabble is still able to move the ball. He's still able to get Daniel Jones into situations where he can be successful. I don't know how to quantify Dayball. All I know is I'm not a big Riverboat Ron guy. I'm just not, man. It's just not. I think this is a layoff situation. I think this is a good one to lay off. It smells similar to when we had the Lions to beat the Giants. Everyone was saying the Giants are going to win, and Giants are going to win easy, forgetting that we got two kind of inconsistent teams. And even though the no-names has been consistently covering for us the last 3 or 4 weeks, don't we have to kind of slap the hand from going into the cookie jar one too many times? I mean, they aren't a dominant team by any means. AP Indy, Lawson, is this the Falcons Alamo? They could be leading the division with a wild card. Tampa Bay lost. Not sure it matters, but looks like they could have a shot. They're going to have a shot in this game. I don't know if it's going to be their Alamo, but they do give a good effort every game. We got to give Arthur Smith that much credit. It's just, everyone wants to focus on Mariota when we talk about the Falcons. But one thing that really bothers me about the Falcons is how bad this defense is. I mean, you get A.J. Terrell back. That improves the coverage a little bit. But they sit back in the soft zones. You can throw it underneath. They'll give you 8-yard receptions the whole damn game. I just don't know if the Falcons can beat the Steelers. When I looked at the game initially, my initial reaction was, okay, Falcons probably take care of business here. But with the Steelers getting the running game going and Kenny Pickett not being afraid to throw the ball down the field, I just think the Steelers get more splash plays. And then one problem with the Falcons, I like the Falcons a lot earlier in the season. You want to know why? Because of the splash plays from Cordero Patterson. Cordero Patterson was going off for 100 yards, getting 4 or 5 receptions, big plays from him. We haven't seen much from him since he came back from injury. He did have the one kick return against the Chicago Bears, but other than that, we haven't seen a lot. And that is troublesome. And I just don't think Atlanta has enough playmakers without Cordero Patterson being the whole team. And I want to see him involved more. And that's one thing that's been troubling on film the last 3 or 4 weeks. Okay. Okay, got you. Okay, here we go. We got more Patreon questions. I appreciate you guys. I hope everyone's having a good night. Patreon contest starts today. Also, Patreon, they raised their rates. So if you were on auto pay, they kicked you off because they raised it like 20 or 30 cents. So if you want to get back on Patreon, you have to go sign up again. I did not raise the Patreon price. They did. It wasn't your boy. It's still the same for me. $5, $5, and $5. Haven't budged it in 2.5 years. So if you got kicked off, that was why. Okay, here we go. T1 the Great. Hey, John, will you put a teaser on Patreon this week? Yes, I will. I have a 2-team teaser that will be a bet this week, my man. Not going for a 4 or 5-team teaser. I'm going for a 2-team teaser, single bet. Think I'm going to use 6 points. Bets will be up later tonight on Patreon. Kona, K808. Aloha, enjoying your content while two volcanoes are erupting on Hawaii Island. Stay safe, my man. Stay safe. I heard you say that we hit the Bills game last night, but not see it as a Patreon bet. Did you bet Bills? I did bet Bills. I did not put it on Patreon. I did not, because I just said I'm not posting a Thursday night bet on Patreon, because you know how that goes. You know how crazy it gets. I was saying Bills all week. I should have posted that on Patreon. I don't know why I didn't. And also Patreon was acting weird yesterday. It was renewing, and then I went to post another thing, and it didn't let me post. There's a lot of stuff going on yesterday with Patreon, and it booted a lot of people off who were on auto renew. I didn't really understand what was going on yesterday. So yeah, on the Tuesday show, I had Bills to win and to cover. On Instagram, I doubled down once it got to -3.5. It should have been a money pick on Patreon. My bad about that, my guy. My bad about that. Tom Hood, I got Titans to cover, Eagles to win. Yeah. I got Titans to cover, Eagles to win. That's a game I'm staying away from. I don't know if the Eagles are going to be able to stop the run. If you look at the offenses, obviously Eagles have way more firepower, but just we've hit a lot of Titans games this year, but we got screwed last week with the Titans' performance against the Bengals. I just don't want to touch them at this point. John Hammond, the video other day, he yells, I would put down 1,000 if it wasn't a Thursday game. Honestly, it was the best. Appreciate it, my guy. I hope everything's going good with you. Yeah, man, it's just some of these Thursday night games have been complete fuckage this year. It's just a lot of fishy stuff happening on them. And, you break down the matchup, you break down who's better, who's going to run the ball better, who's going to play better defense. And it just doesn't make a damn bit of difference when we talk about Thursday night football this year. We've started hitting them the last 3 weeks, but Thursday night has been more unpredictable than anything single thing this year. All right, I'm going to get some people on. I'm going to just get a little glass of soda. And then I'm gonna get some people on. Michael Mann, if you want to come on. Lauren, if you want to come on. Appreciate everyone. Hope everyone has a good night. I'll be right back. Give me like 2 or 3 minutes. Obrigado. Okay, back. We're back. We're back. Um, yeah, I know, right? I mean, Angela, we've been covering the Jags this year, and on Patreon we had the Jags +4. But I was surprised by that. With that late comeback, with that late magic, even though the Ravens have been letting teams back in the game all year. Okay, here we go. Let's get to. Okay, here we go, yo. Yeah, Mike Sennett. Jay Bogan Henry will run wild on the Eagles after weak performance last couple weeks. Yeah, that's why I'm leaning Titans cover in that game. And then the Eagles, they haven't stopped the run all year. Now, you would think you add Linval Joseph, you add Ndamukong Suh, you would think eventually that would improve. You would think, correct? It hasn't looked like it. And when your defense starts allowing 30 spots to the Green Bay Packers, I get concerned. When the Green Bay Packers have 20 points in the first half against you, I start getting concerned. Let me ask everyone on the chat a question. So it looks like Justin Fields is going to play against the Packers, right? Have we got an official word on that? Or is that we know he practiced or he was in limited practice? Have we gotten word on if Justin Fields will be playing against the Packers? Here we go. Yeah, Mike, I sent the invite. Let me know if you got it. Okay, he's questionable. Yeah, these NFL teams, they lie like crazy, Stevie. And with legalized sports betting and how big it's getting, NFL really needs to be more rigid about these injury reports. I have a feeling the Dolphins are lying about Teron Armstead's doubtful designation, and I actually think he ends up playing. When we know if a guy's doubtful, he's pretty much out. We know that's how it goes. Lauren, how's it going?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Ready for week 13?
Week 13. We're a teenager now.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't even believe how fast it's going. Can't even
Yeah,
believe
it
it.
goes too fast. It goes too fast, unfortunately.
It really does. I mean, I had a good, really probably my best week of the year last week. So I was pretty happy with my outcome and hoping to repeat.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Thanksgiving was good, man.
It was. It was
And
really good to us.
yeah, and we've gotten some really bad luck this year. I don't like using luck because it's the NFL. It ends up
Yeah,
equaling out. But there's been some fuckage this year. But anyways, let's get into it.
true.
What's your favorite game of the week?
Um, I mean, favorite game. I don't know that I could say I really have a favorite, but I have definitely a couple that I'm interested in. But I don't know if I like one, really more than the other. I'm always all alone with my Cincinnati. So I know I'm on a limb by myself, like usual, but I like Cincinnati to win.
Why?
You know when the team just has another team's number? And Cincinnati is getting better and better every single week. And they've proven without, their number one running back, without their number one receiver in Jamar Chase, they have proven they can be just as dynamic with or without them.
Uh, well, I
And they're getting
wouldn't
them
say
both back.
dynamic, but I I agree with what you're
Consistency.
saying. It's good that it's good that they were able to grind out games with him. You're 100% right. And Jamar Chase, you had him like, dude, that's different thing. But I actually think Samaj Pierine's better than Joe Mixon.
I know you're not a Mixon fan. You like Samaje.
No, I love Joe Mixon. I loved him before, but like we got to just watch what's on the film. The reason why the money pick for this against the Steelers hit with the Bengals was because of him. If Joe Mixon was in that game, I think we would have took that out 100%.
And I can understand your reasoning. Sometimes people, they make a lot of case for the whole Zeke, Tony Pollard thing, Dalvin Cook, Madison when he's out, how dynamic Madison is. He's going to be a star one day, I think. So there's definitely, a lot of influence I get from you on that. But I just feel like you throw Jamar Chase back into the mix this week because he's back. And if they can keep doing what they're doing, I was kind of by myself with them against Tennessee. But last year, same thing. They beat Tennessee. They beat Kansas City. They went to the Super Bowl. This team, it's like they're like a fine wine. They get better with age. As the season goes on, they started out 0-2. Let's not forget their start of 0-2. As the season goes on, this team just gets better.
Yeah,
they do.
I mean, they get a real test this week. Titans were a good test. Listen, the Titans game, it was impressive, but listen,
I know.
The Bengals
I know
they're the same as
I know.
last year. Look at the corner position. Like I think that's the matchup to watch in the game. I think the Chiefs throw it on them. I think Mahomes goes for like 330. But like you said, you add Jamar Chase back. That's the dynamism. Cincinnati's explosive. Cincinnati might be more explosive than the Chiefs. We couldn't say that last year, but they might be more explosive. So I kind of agree with what you're saying. And the Chiefs leave teams laying around in games. Have you ever noticed that? They just leave teams in games.
And I don't really like them, and the game is in Cincinnati, if I'm not mistaken.
It is, yeah.
Right? Okay. So I'm telling you, Cincinnati, I said this last year at the exact same time, this team gets better and better as the season goes on. They just do. They gel better. Everything just works better. I like their coach. Joe Burrows, I think, is just Mahomes is Mahomes. Let's just be honest. Mahomes is Mahomes, right? But I don't think Burrows really has to play second fiddle to anybody. So I just don't.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean the turnovers against the Steelers, like those turnovers, like he's more due to turn over than Mahomes. I mean, it's just a difference of opinion. It's only -2. It's not like it's like Chiefs -5 like it was last year. We did hit that though. It's not like it's like Chiefs -5. Listen, I just think everyone's not looking at like this Bengals secondary. You're not going to get their secondary tested against the Titans. I guess that's what rolling the dice is. But no, you're right, man. Listen, my only worry about this game with the Chiefs is the Chiefs get down early, like they do a lot, unfortunately. Bengals aren't the Chargers. You can't just snap your hands and come back from down 14 points.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with what you're saying. Bengals do get better as the season goes on.
They do. And like I said, they're like a fine wine. And so I'm going to be honest with you. I can, what do you call it? Eat crow the following week. Cincinnati money line. That's where I am this week. Cincinnati wins on the field.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, what is it like? +150, +140. Yeah, not bad.
It was 150 when I got it.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's
so just whatever other games, because I've been talking about this game the whole week.
Oh, have you? Okay, my bad. Houston +7. I know they're hot trash, but could this be their like Super Bowl where, could they maybe come within 7? I mean,
7's a lot in NFL.
They're still an NFL team, right? I mean, could they possibly make this? Could they come within 7? I don't think, or it's going to be a push. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I think how you say don't trust Tampa to beat anybody by more than 3, because I don't know if I trust Cleveland to beat anybody by more than 7. So
yeah. Here's a problem with people in our group. Because we've won a lot of money on Cleveland, whether it be like sharps or just people who love betting like us, we've won so much money on Cleveland the last 2 or 3 years. They kind of get almost like an autistic vigor about betting them, regardless of situation, thinking they're going to cheer in some sort of proverbial corner. With this, though, I do think the Texans are in tank mode. It could be their Alamo. It could be. I don't know if they can stop Nick Chubb, though. My worry 4 or 5 weeks ago, teams are starting to stop Nick Chubb. That's what was starting to make me pull my hair out and get worried. But yeah, man, 7 is a lot. I like the Browns to tease them down. I think the Browns win.
I mean, Browns money line, okay, but Browns to win by 8, I don't. Yeah, I'm not feeling it.
I get it. It would take some cojones to put money on the Texans, though.
No shit, right? But on the road, laying 7 points. On the road, laying 7. I don't care who the hell you are. The Browns haven't shown me anything that they can be. Deshaun Watson, obviously, he's big wow. Okay. I don't think anything was wrong with Tyrod Taylor, to be honest with you. So, but you want to sit here and say you're going to give that team 7-point favorite on the road to anybody? I don't know.
Well, okay, I'll go through the argument again. Like, my main issue with the Browns this year has been the pass defense. I don't think Jacoby was all that bad, although
I don't either.
It's not.
Oh, did I say Tyrod Taylor? I'm sorry, Jacoby Brissett. Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't the problem, but my issue is the Browns secondary. This whole year, they've been a problem. And I do think people got excited when they beat Cincinnati, and people can't just say, like, listen, that game's an outlier. Do not focus on that game. Sometimes teams don't show up in this league, unfortunately. But, man,
for sure.
for me, like the Texans, they got the worst run defense in the league. I don't know what the stats say right now. I just know they're the worst run D. Good. They got good players in the secondary, but I'm starting to see Amari Cooper play good again. Listen, like the Deshaun Watson stuff, like I know people don't like him, but like I'm not betting the Browns for Deshaun Watson to come like hang around my wife or anything. I'm just betting him to throw maybe 17 passes in the game, and that's about it on play action. Yeah, I get what you're saying though, because motivation's a big factor. I just think they decimated this Texans roster, man. Like they're decent earlier in the year. Remember when we hit them on a bet or two? Now you can't even bet them. They've decimated it.
And I don't know, the whole Stingley thing, I don't know where he's at with this. You know what I mean? Because he's a huge, factor because, just as much as like Christian Darrisaw is from Minnesota, I think, Stingley is a big factor in here. So, I don't know what
him and Petrie are nasty. Like,
yeah.
So,
yeah. So I'm going to be honest with you. I can't lay the points. I don't know that I can take them either, but I can't. I damn sure can't lay them. 100. If I had to go away, I would take the home team with the points. If I was like a gun to my head. But
I'm going to get Michael on with you, and we're going to talk about Tampa Bay Saints.
We should.
Hey, what's up, guys?
My man.
Hey, Mike. Good night. Yeah. So let's get right into it. Monday Night Football. A little bit of a disappointing primetime game again. It's kind of been the story of this whole year. Saints plus 3.5 at the box.
Dude, I think I told you already. I am riding or dying on the Saints hill this week. Listen, I think to bet this game and really to break down this game, you have to understand the psychology of the NFC South. You know, the Saints absolutely have despised Tampa Bay ever since they got Tom Brady. They always play good against them. And if we're being honest, the Saints defense did not play that bad last week. They really didn't. Especially considering what their offense was doing. And
they could have won that game.
for sure, yeah. No, yeah, if the offense didn't have like their worst day in years, they probably could have pulled that off.
In lifetime. Yeah.
Anyway, and you're looking at the Bucs. I don't think the Bucs are mentally ready or like on the film ready for this game. You know, they just lost a heartbreaker to Cleveland. They can't get Mike Evans going at all. And the last team you want to see when you're, if you're Tampa Bay right now is New Orleans. No team gets inside Tampa's head like the Saints have over the last few years. I don't know what they're doing, but Dennis Allen has figured them out. And I could easily see the Saints winning like a 17-3 game.
Yeah, I'm on the under.
Yeah, I'm on the under. I was about to say that. It's
I'm
at
on
40.5.
Yeah, I'm on the under all day. I'd take it at 38. I would give it to me at 34. I don't care. Like I'm on the under. I think you're right. Here's the thing. The NFC South right now is a free ticket to the playoff. Does anybody want it? Just somebody come get it. Right? It's a free entry right now to the playoffs. Any one of these teams can make it. All four have a chance. No, you know what I mean? Just somebody. And it's almost like nobody wants it.
I'll be honest. Listen, I know I'm a homer, but if we're talking pure, like, who's the most motivated team in the division right now, I'd have to go with the Panthers. Like, even though they're not winning, like, they're not on a big winning streak or anything, they're playing a lot better than they should be. And I'll give them credit for that.
Yeah,
I think they dug themselves in too deep of a hole early in the year. That's their problem.
And it's almost like at one point in time, I really thought Atlanta was going to, like, shoot up and take this division. I really did. Until, like, 3 weeks ago. And I was like, yeah, okay, never mind.
Yeah,
so
Atlanta's had a really rough last, like, 5-6 games.
Yeah, they're in trouble. And then Tampa, honest to God, like, if ever a division should have been just handed to Tom Brady, it was this year.
Yeah.
And that team is just, they are so underperforming, more so than ever. They're so underperforming, and you can talk injuries. Everyone's got them. I don't want to hear that BS. We're in week 13, okay? Who doesn't have injuries? So, I think, yes, I know here we go. I'm a homer too. You can call me a homer too, but I'm on the Saints to win it outright. They just got shut out.
Win the game or win the division?
No, win the game.
Oh yeah, I am too.
So They got shut out last week. That's, you know what I mean? They've been waiting for this game. They got beat by Tampa earlier in the year. And, I feel like, just like you said, these two teams have become a rivalry. I think the Saints were like 4 and beat them like 4-0 or something like that in the regular season up until this year. So I'm on the Saints. It's hard for me to play the Saints because, again, I don't play my own team ever. So it's something that I just don't like. But if you were to ask me, this is a get right. This is the Saints win this week.
Yeah, for me, man, it's like we gotta just go Saints plus 3.5.
And with the points, I'm definitely on it with the points. Like,
I'm just waiting for it to get up to like 4.5 or 5. Like, I'm hoping on Monday night that crap just jumps up.
Because it's the same thing with the damn Patriots, man. There's just a group who bats Tom Brady or the Patriots, and they call them sharps, and I have to hear, like, act like they're, like, fucking smarter than us because they put money on the Pats to beat the Bills. And then
you think it'll get that high? You think it'll go to 4? 4.5?
It's at 3.5 right
earlier.
Now. Yeah, I've seen it, like, at 4 on some betting sites.
I'm sure a lot of people are using my rationale saying, okay, bro, like, how are the Bucs going to beat anyone by more than 3 points?
The same thing with Cleveland. The same thing with Cleveland. Like, that's what I mean. They're not that good.
Listen, even if you're unconfident in the Saints offense, which is totally fair, You can
Absolutely.
have confidence in Dennis Allen to know how to beat Tom Brady and Tampa Bay. Like, you can at least, if you want to bet the first half spread, that might be good too. But even if this game's like 3-3 at going into the fourth quarter, and Tampa kicks a game-winning field goal, you still cover. I feel very confident about the Saints defense containing the Bucs.
Yeah, I agree, because the Saints defense, if you noticed last week, held San Francisco to 13 points or something.
Yeah.
So their defense can play.
And
that's
Brandon,
what no one wants to talk about, though. Like with the Miami talk, I'm out. Like, I don't even want to get to Miami because these injuries at left and right tackle, but no one wants to talk about how bad that 49ers offense was. And then secondly, I'm worried about Andy Dalton. So I'm just making sure the chat knows I acknowledge that.
Who isn't?
Andy Dalton.
Who isn't worried about Andy Dalton?
A little bit in that red zone. If he played a little bit in the red zone, Saints could have been competitive in that game.
And I almost want us to tank. I want us to get a good quarterback next year, but they're not going to tank against this game. They're not. This is going to be. The Saints will play the best game you've seen all year. Monday night,
I'm telling you, it's
whether they win or lose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're going to show
whether
up.
they win or lose. Just because. And Tom Brady, yada yada yada, he'll be on his ass 55 times. You watch Cam Jordan come flying over, knock him over 16 times. It just will. Now, whether or not they're going to score, however much, you know what I mean? Hopefully Olave gets in the end zone and Kamara stops fumbling,
Yeah,
but
that was also a very uncharacteristic performance from New Orleans last week on offense.
Yeah. Especially with Alvin Kamara, with how good he is, how good of balance he's got, and what a good ball carrier he is. So it was very uncharacteristic. People have games, they have bad games, whatever. But look at the Saints shut out the Raiders, right, one week, and then the next week the Raiders come out looking like they're the 85 Bears. So you can say what you want.
Show.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I'll say one more thing about the Bucs though. Like, we all just keep waiting for Tom Brady to get hot, like he always seems to do in December and November.
Yeah. When's that happening?
Yeah, when's that happening? We haven't seen it yet this year. And we got 5 games left to the regular season. You got to wonder if they're going to be able to put this together. And New Orleans is the last team that's going to allow that to happen.
And that's why I'm saying this division, anybody want it? Does anybody want to go to the playoffs in the NFC? Anybody? Because obviously none of them want to go to the playoffs from the way that they're performing. So, and I said this a few weeks ago. I said, theoretically, you could win the NFC South, host a home playoff game, and probably still get a top 5 draft pick.
Well, no.
Not a top 5 draft pick. Maybe a top 15 draft pick, maybe.
Top 10. I'll go top 10.
Not in top 10.
Yes, you could. If their record is so bad, think about their record right now. Think about all the people that are going to be beating them.
Okay, so just so we can clarify here, who do you think wins the NFC South? We need to get on another game. I don't. Well, yeah, but I know, but someone has to.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you're saying a team like New Orleans or Carolina is going to win it, then they might sneak in there with 7 wins, maybe 6 wins.
6 wins.
Well, not 6 wins because Tampa wins
7. Let's say they get 6 or 7 wins.
Yeah, if that's you could be in that situation. But...
Well, we do got the extra game, so I think they'll get to I think they'll be 8 and 9.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty though. And whoever the other thing too, Lawson, this is a good game to keep your eye out for. Whoever wins the NFC South is probably looking at playing Dallas in the first round of the playoffs. That will be a slaughter.
Yeah, it probably
not Tampa. Maybe not Tampa because Tampa seems to have their number.
Well, because eventually for the Saints, though, I just have to give a little pushback on the Saints offense. They were really bad against the Steelers. They beat up on the Rams, but the Rams are kind of on give-up mode. I'm worried about the Saints offense. That's why I like the under here. I think the under is the play. I would not be mad if anyone takes the Saints with the hook. Just wanted to put a bow on it. I'm worried about the Saints offense. I don't know why Jameis isn't getting the call to go back in. I do remember how bad he was that game against Carolina, so I do want to be fair about it. But I'm not sure why he's not getting a call to go in again. But
There's definitely got to be something, and it's very secretive and very hush hush right now. So I don't know. Like nobody's really talking about it, and I don't know if it's injury related or if it's because back fractures are no joke, right? And that's what he had. But you figure by now, if he was healthy or 90% or 80%. With the way Andy Dalton's been playing, you would think it would be time to put him back, especially.
He says he's 100%. He says it's hurting him not to play. He said that this week.
I saw, and it's a shame, because I know he's had some bad games, but something is wrong. Something is going on. Something's very hush hush over there. So, and for nobody to really know.
I just think Dennis Allen doesn't know what he's doing. Because when you look at the defensive talent over there, some of the defensive games they've put together have been absolutely horrendous. Like, I don't know. I just think Dennis Allen, no one's talking about him. He's bothering me a lot.
I can't even put it all on Dennis Allen, though.
Win some games.
I can't even put it all on Dennis Allen, though. It's not his fault that Alvin Kamara fumbled twice last week. It's not his fault that Jameis got hurt. It's not his fault that the Saints defense is walking in limping every week. Granted, he has his problems, and I've been calling this for years. I was saying that the second Sean Payton left, there were going to be problems in New Orleans, and no one believed me. Well, here we are. Sorry, I'm sick, but yeah.
But I don't know. Dennis Allen, I remember when he was a head coach of the Ravens.
He was bad then too.
It was, dude. The defense is just bad, man. Their defense has been bad this year.
They've been better lately, though. They looked good last week, and even against the Rams.
They've been bad this year, man. Like you look at that game that they played Monday night against the Ravens. The Ravens had Mark Andrews out, Duvernay out. They had Bateman out, and they just still tore him up. I don't know, man. The Saints have been one of the most disappointing teams in the league this year for me.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
You're telling me.
And I know you both were really high on them to start the year, too.
I wasn't that high on them. Like, I thought they could win 10 games, which I don't think is crazy given some of the teams on their schedule.
Yeah, I did. I thought at least 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Minimum. I put them over. I would even say 10.
Like, look at that secondary in a league where the theme this year has been good secondary play and these elite quarterbacks not playing up to potential. And then you look at that Saints secondary. Come on, that's just a bunch of dogs.
But they're all hurt.
Lattimore's been back for like the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Isn't he questionable this week?
Say that again?
Sorry, isn't he questionable this week?
Not sure, but he's been playing. And Honey Badger's played the whole year. And they got other dudes.
the Saints added some good players. They added the Honey Badger. They drafted Chris Olave. They definitely made some good moves to put them in place to be competitive. Whatever happened, I don't know, because they completely fell apart early, dug themselves into a hole. And again, they could win the NFC South. Carolina could win the NFC South. Atlanta could win the NFC South. Tampa's not running away with this. They might not get in the playoffs.
Yeah. I'm just kind of to the point where I don't really care who wins it.
Whoever it is isn't going far. Whoever wins is out one and done.
Yeah.
Because like the Saints and Tampa are teams that are capable of playing good football. It's just the thing with Tampa that really frustrates me is like Brian Leftwich and the play calling, like trying to run it every play. Yeah, let's get to another game because I wanted your opinion on this game, your guys' opinion.
Detroit. Giants. I'm on Detroit.
You're on Detroit? Well, okay. So
love Detroit.
Yeah, so
get the hell out of here.
Dude. All right, let me explain myself. Dude.
Here we go.
I just think the Jags have better coaching. I think after that big win against Baltimore, I think the team's gained some confidence in itself. And I think Doug Peterson actually knows what to do and can get this team prepared. Dan
And
Campbell
I was on
teams,
Jacksonville last
dude,
week. I was totally on Jacksonville last week.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
know
so-
both y'all are on Detroit this week, but listen,
I am. Is
I've
Lawson
heard
too?
I heard this nickname. What?
I didn't know. Is Lawson on Detroit too?
Yeah, I picked
you picked
Detroit.
Yeah.
Tentatively. It wasn't like with the Giants or for the
Okay, gotcha.
the Bills, but it's time to no, I agree with. I just wanted to hear someone agree with me because let me set it up. I'll kick it to you, Lauren. But everyone seems to see the Jags are winning this week, and everyone seems to think it's going to be a cakewalk. And you know, as someone who is a Trevor Lawrence mark myself, and as someone who has been befuddled by the Jaguars' win-loss record this year, I thought they should be a lot better given what the film says and what Peterson's done on offense. I just don't think this is this easy win that everyone's saying that. I don't.
I don't think it'll be easy. I just think coaching is going to be a huge factor in this. And I heard a nickname for Detroit like a little while ago, or for Dan Campbell. They call him Dan Cover Campbell because he always covers, but he rarely wins these close games.
But that's why we like him.
Yeah, that's why we like him. But when it's a -1 or +1 spread, like that's not something you can ride with.
So Jacksonville had to score 18 points in the final 6 minutes of that game and against Baltimore.
Yeah, exactly.
Kudos to them because they deserve a big home win like that. Trevor Lawrence, I'm on the Trevor train. Love it. But Detroit is not Houston anymore.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Okay. And, you know, Jacksonville's given up 20 points out of their last 7 or 8 games. We know Detroit's defense isn't that great. They've gotten a little better, but we know it's bad. But that team can score. They can put up 30, 35, almost on anybody. And they hung with Baltimore. Or, I'm sorry, with Buffalo. They hung with Buffalo. They've got extra rest. You know, so?
Detroit hangs with a lot of teams, and they always lose. I mean, they're very bad. I'm telling you, they're just a poor team in one-score games. They always make stupid penalties. You know, I know Dan Campbell can get his team to play, but that man will make some dumb decisions toward the end of the game.
Can I get in here?
Sure.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell isn't the reason why Detroit loses these close games. He might have made one bad. He had one bad coach game against the Vikings. I'll give you that. But for me, man, you're talking about Peterson and his scheme. I don't think there's a better offensive coordinator in this league than Johnson, Detroit's offensive coordinator, with some of the adversity he's had this year. We talk about injuries. Dudes had injuries the whole year, and they got run-pass balance, crazy play-action game, Goff slanging it. I mean, who would ever thought Goff slanging it? And I just look at Dan Campbell, man, okay, they have the slowest team in the NFL. And when you have that problem on defense, it's a problem. But look at how this defense has evolved the last 3-4 weeks. And then also, I like Jags offense, but they've been really bad in the red zone. And doesn't that come down to coaching a little bit? Also, on the defensive side for the Jags, it's really good on paper. It's really good on Madden. I mean, they should have an elite pass rush in the league, but it just goes away. And then the secondary for the Jags, when it gets late in games, they're really bad in one-score games as well. I just don't see much of a difference between the teams.
How many times were they in the end zone against Kansas City and came up with no points?
Yeah.
None.
I do agree with a little bit of what Mike says, especially if you look at that Dallas game or Detroit always fumbling balls at the 1-yard line when they're ready to walk.
Exactly.
I don't know if that's Dan Campbell. I don't know if Dan Campbell has responsibility for a dropped handoff at the 1-yard line to run in for 6. I don't know.
I'm on Detroit. I'm almost tempted to take them as my survivor.
Ooh, that's bold. Lauren, you should bet him then because
I am.
They've been great against the spread this year. I mean,
I am.
It's a 1-point spread though. This isn't like a 10-point spread where they can slip in a little a little pity cover at the end of the fourth quarter. This is a legit,
It's a money line bet.
That's not what I'm saying. I know they've covered games like
they
straight
do
up.
not get backdoor covers. They blow the game near the end, like you said before. There is no backdoor covers from Detroit.
Yeah, I know.
All of them are hard-won, deserved covers.
Yeah, I know. They compete for 60 minutes. Let's give them. I was just saying that as an example, but they
don't
compete for
quit.
60 minutes. Yeah,
that team does not quit. That team does not quit ever. And I don't see them losing this weekend. I mean, obviously, I'm probably going to have to take Cleveland or Seattle for my survivor, but I was contemplating on being. But this, I even have Dallas left.
Yeah, but
I think
Lauren, just go Seattle and hold Detroit for later in the year.
Yeah, go Seattle.
Get a good spot for
them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm going to have to, but I'm just saying, if I didn't have anybody left, I wouldn't be mad to try to take Detroit. To me, I personally think the home team that's as dynamic as them, Jacksonville's coming off a huge, big win, 18 points in the final 6 minutes. ETN's a little banged up. I don't know where Jamichael Hasty or whatever came from, but kudos to him. But Jamal Williams and, DeAndre Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you think that the Jags defense is gonna hold these guys? No way.
The Jags have been really bad in man coverage this year, really bad. And when you got St. Brown walking, and that's an issue. It's a matchup issue. That's what destroyed the Giants. To be realistic, it was
Goff does not really throw interceptions.
No, and I might have. I don't want to, sissy out here, but I might have to change my pick a little bit because I will say the Lions play really good at home.
Very
good thing too.
And listen, most of the money is going to be on the Jags, so I'm not trying to talk you out of anything. I just got a little bit triggered about the Dan Campbell disrespect. I got a little bit triggered by it because. Listen, he's an easy target. He's a bit of a meathead. He says man after every single sentence. But, bro, this dude can I want him to get 3 years there. I want him to let this play out. I think Dan Campbell, I think he's already turned the team around. Dude, they're coming, man. They're coming.
I want him to stay there, too. All I'm saying is, in these close games, I question his decision-making at times.
Fair enough, yeah.
That's the point.
Look at some of these other teams that make crap decisions, like the Colts, not taking a timeout. Matt LaFleur, what you know what I'm saying? So I don't think he's in that type of category.
I think he's better than a lot of coaches in the league.
Me too.
And I do think Detroit, they made a philosophical decision going into this offseason. They're saving a lot of cap and resources for next year because if you look at what they did to the defense, they added absolutely no one. And it's a lot of 4th, 5th, 6th rounders. So I'm hoping it gets better next year. If it doesn't get better next year, then Mike's going to be right and Dan's going to be on the street.
Well, except for Aiden Hutchinson. And,
he's good and
so you're going to have the number 1 and number 2 pick playing against each other this week.
No,
yeah.
I don't think so. Houston's
from last year.
Oh,
from
last year, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you're going to have, Aiden Hutchinson and the guy the kid that they picked in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be interesting, and they're at home. They play really good at home, like you just said. And I think they've got the momentum going in this week. I just do. I think they're gonna pull it off.
We need to move on to another game, but I'll finish with this. I'm very curious to see if Detroit drafts a quarterback this year because I don't think Goff is the primary problem with their team right now.
I don't think he is either.
Dude, I think that's a good question. Because that's I can make an argument for both sides. Yeah, let's get to another game. I guess I'm gonna just choose unless you guys want to talk one.
No, go ahead.
Mike, are you on Kansas City? Just curious.
I am.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm once again all alone by myself once again.
I'm gonna sit this one out. I have not, done
We already talked
extensive
about it.
research on this game. Yeah, I know y'all already talked about it. We can move on to another game.
Just
Austin
curious
pretty
where
much
you were
talked me
standing.
into it, so I don't want to
Just curious.
Yeah,
wanted to see where you were standing. Wanted to see if I'm on that olive branch all by myself, like usual. Was Cincinnati?
Yeah, let me because
The Chargers in Vegas. I kind of wanted to talk about that because
we might as well, because we got most of my viewers are from California, like 60%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. Yeah, so let's talk about that. We saw open Chargers -1, and then I saw late last night, early Thursday, it shifted to Raiders -1. I don't think that means a whole lot. And as someone who's just might be a little bit emotional better of the Raiders, I don't like it for them. I've kind of soured as the week went on, but let me tell you the matchup why I'm still going to go with the Raiders. I'm going to dig this trench.
Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, and I really got a problem with the Chargers front seven, man. And I know it came back and stung me when the 49ers didn't cover that half a point. But I guess the point still stands, man. They're butter up front. When James Conner and the Cardinals are pounding you, I just got to go the other way. Herbert's playing better, though, but I'll let you know.
No, you're right. Have the Cardinals ever run the ball that well in the Cliff Kingsbury era? Like, if you can't stop Arizona's ground game, or at least make them go pass happy, like you have some serious problems on your defensive line.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, Lauren, who you got?
Well, once again, I'm on the olive branch all by myself with the Chargers.
Well, I'm sure most of the money's on the Chargers.
So, I mean, everyone can talk about Josh Jacobs and how and we were on the Raiders last week. So was Lawson. Made a great pick there. Because that was a good play. To me, I thought that was a good place for them to exploit the Seattle defense. But as far as the Chargers are concerned, the Raiders knocked them out last year. And they've been looking forward to this game all year. So let's not forget that I like the whole revenge factor thing. Like, I think it plays a big piece. It does. So, and people can talk about Jacobs all you want, but does anybody not want an Austin Eckler on their team?
Oh, for sure.
I do.
Good, but
I do.
The line doesn't get a lot of push.
Austin Eckler is just as effective, if not more, often than Jacobs is. So
in the past game.
Yeah, in the past game, he's a PPR god. If you haven't,
but it's not really his fault because their offensive line, they don't open many holes.
And now that Keenan Allen's back, they're getting a little healthier. I don't know about Mike Williams, but if you got Keenan Allen and Mr. Air Canada, which is the other receiver, they call him Palmer. They call him Air Canada. That's his name. That's his nickname, Air Canada. So he's no slouch either. And Herbert is playing really good ball. He's definitely healthy. The whole rib thing is I feel like in the past now for him. He's playing really good ball. And if you're going to put, a close game like this is probably going to be, if you're going to put the ball into Herbert's hand or Derek Carr's, I'm going to go Justin Herbert in a close game.
I think that's fair.
Talk.
Sorry.
I got something to say real quick. I agree to a certain extent, especially when we factor in the Raiders secondary, and they had a historically bad game against the Seahawks. It's just some of the throws they allowed. I don't know if you guys watched it, but it was historical.
Oh, I watched the whole game.
Oh, did you see some of the zones they were blowing? Like he just had all the way over the middle and no one was there. Anyways, we don't need to get into it. But you know what I'm talking about. That's what I worry about. I'll tell you one thing that's worried me about the Chargers this year. Joe Lombardi and Brandon Staley. Because listen, Mike, let's just put Brandon Staley over here because I think he has some utility at some point. But Joe Lombardi, I feel like he's kind of sabotaged this year for Justin Herbert. A lot for me, man. I feel like someone in the chat said, Raiders need 15 plays to score, Chargers need 3. I don't know if the season showed us that. I don't know if there's a team who plays more in a box than the Chargers. I should see check down, no one getting over the top. Mike Williams going to be out again. Looks like, could be wrong. And then Keenan Allen, he's not a guy to get deep when he's in there. I've just seen them playing in this small little box. And when you got a guy with Herbert's arm, and why the Chargers were legit last year was because they could get it down the field. That's my only concern with the Chargers. I just want them to open it up a little bit.
And I know they've already played each other this year, but it was early. It was, really, really early. So I feel like this late in the game, when certain divisions are as tight as they are, they want to make sure that, and they usually can split. Like these teams that are just as good, these divisional games, I don't see the Raiders sweeping the Chargers. I just don't. I don't see them taking the Raiders. If anybody can screw up anything, it's the freaking Raiders.
That's a good point.
Let's start with that.
Chargers won the first game, but that was a completely different Chargers team, especially the defense. They had Bosa, J.C. Jackson.
And they were at home. They weren't in, you know what I mean? But yes. And what I'm saying, though, is, if any, you got Derek Carr crying on the podium and shit, like for obvious, for reasons. Like Devontae Adams, when he's good, he's spectacular. When he's not good, he's absent.
He's the definition of boom or bust.
It's not like when he was with Aaron Rodgers, where you could bank on him in your fantasy every single week when he was with Aaron Rodgers. It's not the case this year. But you know what I mean? So it just isn't. And I think the Chargers are about to really take on a pretty decent run the rest of the year. They're making a run for it. They got a chance. And somebody asked me, said, if I'm a revenge factor, why am I not on Kansas City? Because of Cincinnati. I'm on it to a point. You know what I mean? I can see where Kansas City could be thinking the same damn thing. They've been looking forward to this game all year. They got knocked out, yada, yada, yada. I just think that Cincinnati is going to be more dynamic. They've had their number. And I just think that Cincinnati gets better and better as the weeks go on. As the season goes on, that team gets better. That's my answer to you in the chat.
I don't know. I just think Andy Reid brings his we should move on to another game, but I just think Andy Reid brings his A game for that one. I mean, probably the most
Of course he's going to bring his A game.
The
of
most
course he is.
But here's the thing. I think the most unstoppable scheme in the NFL, like when he's actually pulling deep in the playbook, is probably Andy Reid.
Yeah, well, and that's why I agree with. Oh, sorry to cut you off. Finish, my bad.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
No, but that's why I agree with Lauren when she said Burrow's somewhat equivalent to Mahomes, but it's actually for a different reason than her. It's because I'm not a big Zach Taylor guy. I'm not trying to sound like one of those analytic guys. They absolutely hate Zach Taylor. I just don't like Zach Taylor's design and like you said, I think Big Red's ready. I'm looking forward to that Chiefs-Bengals game. At least we get a good game. We've had some Sundays without good games, so I'm looking forward to it.
I'd like to talk about this 49ers Dolphins game. So I think,
go on.
I feel good. I feel good about the Dolphins.
Why?
Well, I mean, it's just a good matchup schematically. You look at the 49ers, and they've been notorious the last couple of years for being a very zone-heavy team. And I don't know where this narrative came from. You talked about in your video that Tua can't beat zone. When he came out of college,
I heard that all year.
Yeah, last year and coming out of college, that was literally like his MO. His problem was with the first couple of years in Miami was that he just couldn't he didn't have receivers who were constantly getting open for him against man coverage. I think that was a big part of it. And if you said, does Tua struggle more against zone or man, I'd have to go man. He's just been great against it this year because he gets to throw to Waddle and Hill.
Yeah. Lauren, you're...
Tua has not faced a defense like San Francisco yet this year. So here's where I'm. It's just my first statement. It's just my first statement. I have not said anything else other than the fact that he hasn't. Who?
Lawson and I are ready to explode.
Yeah, I mean, literally, that's the only thing I said. This, to me, where I'm going with this is going to be a big test for Tua. I think that this is going to be where some of the non-believers maybe become believers, because he has not. I do not see any. I have not seen any game this year where he has faced a defense like San Francisco's.
I just think it's a good schematical matchup. I mean, and
yes, for sure.
Lawson made like this from his video, but he made a good point. Like, the Niners play zone defense, and if you're a team that's pretty good at throwing little dink and dunk passes, you want to do that against a team with a good defensive line. San Francisco's defense is built upon getting a good pass rush and covering in zone in the back end. Miami's implemented a scheme that can exploit that.
A la Patriots.
And Miami can allow a lot of points too.
Yeah, and that's my big concern.
Well, and you're 100% right. I am looking a little bit up on Miami's defense. I do think they're going to get a little bit better, but they were okay. Tua impressed me against the Bills. Now, that was a good Bills defense before their rash of injuries. So I do think that's competitive. It's nothing like San Fran, but that's a comparative defensive line when everyone was healthy. There was no Tre'Davious White that game, but still they had the two safeties. They had that nasty defensive line. That was a little bit comparative. Tua didn't do much in that game, but he made bigger plays. The first game of the season, I think, was what started it all. And I remember you were on the Dolphins with me. Listen, that Patriots defense, I'm not high on them, but everyone else is. And Tua worked them, and he could have did more if he wanted to. Yeah, man. 49ers
I'm on them to cover.
Really tough,
I think this is going to be garbage. I think it's going to be a very close game. I think it's at 4 points or whatever the hell it is. I'm on them to cover. I think we're talking a 3-point game. One way or another.
The only thing that really scares me about this game is if San Francisco finds a way to run the ball.
Oh, God.
That is pretty much the only scenario where I could see the Dolphins like really getting kind of pushed around here.
And I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it because it needs to be said. Tua is injury prone. We can all agree with that, right? Yeah. This San Fran defense, you might be seeing Teddy Bridgewater. I'm just telling you.
How dare you
halfway through the game?
No, how dare you?
I'm just telling you, halfway through the game.
Right. No, you're 100%
halfway through the game. If Teddy Bridgewater comes in, Miami can kiss it goodbye.
Well, because if he takes a substantial hit, they're going to ring down. And remember, Teddy got hit in the elbow the week after Tua got hurt. Hit in the elbow, they ring down for a concussion. Then we see Skylar Thompson against the Jets. No, you're right. It's right.
And then if you see Skylar Thompson, you might as well just
throw in the towel.
You might as well throw in the towel.
Man.
You know what I mean? So here's what scares me about playing that is that this is a very physical, very, very physical 49ers defense, and they can get after the quarterback so well and so fast, and those guys have no shame. They will bring, so the minute he's wobbly or comes up staggering, goodbye.
If Teddy comes in this game, I'm turning it off. I'm not sitting there to watch Teddy Bridgewater.
I'm just saying this defense is so fierce. and they can still put up some points. You know what I mean? They don't have to. You know what I mean? But if they can get after Tua, if that O-line doesn't protect him, he's in trouble.
I don't think the O-line is even going to do that. They're not going to have that great of a game. I think they'll ultimately lose the battle in the trenches. But I just think with Miami's short passing scheme and the quick short game they like to utilize, I don't think that's going to be as big as a factor as if say you were playing like a Kansas City, a team that likes to sit in the pocket for a while and try to chuck balls.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm at. I'm a little bit nervous about Tron Armstead injury at left tackle for the Dolphins, but it looks like their right tackle will play, which is Bosa and to his blind slide. But I agree. Yeah, Mike, for me this whole year, the three schemes I like on offense the most have been Andy Reid's, Miami's, and surprisingly Detroit, if we're just looking at like pure play calling. So I'm looking forward to this game, man. This is
I
the
am
game
too. Yeah, I am too.
I almost don't want to bet it because I just want to watch it.
Yeah.
I agree.
I really like, Nick, what Philadelphia has done. Granted, that might be because of talent and how good their offensive line is, but I love a good zone, like a zone run scheme.
And let's be honest here. Are we, we're talking Tua versus Jimmy G. Miami does not have CMC. Miami does not have Deebo Samuel. You
know what though? I've been paying attention to Christian McCaffrey a lot lately. He really hasn't played that well. Like for the most part, he's had a few boom games. But you look at his game logs, he's not like putting up monster numbers for the most part.
Because there's like a merry-go-round going over there. You don't know who has the ball.
Didn't Jeff Wilson get hurt though?
Yes. And here's what my opinion on San Fran is. Big Shanahan fan here, but I don't like what they've been doing. And Deebo Samuel's numbers are even down. Like you could use injury as an excuse for that. And like Lauren said, there's just like too much like rotation. They're still putting Deebo Samuel in the backfield to run the ball with hamstring injuries when you got Christian McCaffrey. There's troubling things that are going on. Like they should have, like when they played the Chargers, listen, I respect the Chargers. They got Herbert. But when you play a team like the Chargers, especially the way that game flowed, they should have won that game by like 14, 17 points, and they're leaving teams in games.
Yeah, and so they really should have beat up on the Saints more than they did.
So if Deebo is banged up, I know Elijah Mitchell's out again because he's like the most frail running back in the world, since the kid from Seattle's gone now, Penny. So if there's no Elijah Mitchell, which there isn't, if Deebo's remotely banged up, I think you will see a big game out of CMC this week. Because
I love
you can run on Miami.
Yeah, no, it's really small up front. Maybe they made some adjustments. They look better. The really only test they've had recently was Chubb. They look pretty good against him, but there's no run pass balance. At least Jimmy G gives a little bit of run pass balance. I'll let Mike get to that because there's one game I want to ask about before we go.
No, go ahead. I pretty much did everything I did. All I'll say is I wonder if this is the game where the 49ers injuries finally start to catch up to them. I mean, there's a chance they could be without Deebo and Jeff Wilson, and I think that's pretty big.
Yeah, and I did see someone in the chat said Trent Williams, and I've been researching this game all week. I didn't even know that. It must have been a late edition. Let's get to the last game. We got the New York Jets. +3 at the Minnesota Vikings. I know this isn't the sexiest game, but I wanted your opinion on this just as an observer.
This is not a game. I don't want to bet this game no matter what. Honestly, going into the week, I was really hoping this would be like Jets -8 or +8. Like I was really hoping the Jets would be a big underdog because then I'd feel more inclined to ride on the Jets. But because it's -3 and you really don't know how either quarterback's going to do against either of these defenses, I'm staying the heck away from this. But I get why you made Minnesota money pick, though. I just can't. I can't ride with him going up against New York's defense.
So I agree with staying away from it. But again, if you had to put a gun to my head, I'm taking Minnesota because Sauce Gardner, yada, 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 yada. He's going to be up against Justin Jefferson. He's very physical. He's going to get a lot of penalties too, I think. So I think he's going to be all over Jefferson and probably shoot that team in their foot because there's going to be pass interference calls. He gives up too much. Their defense is good, but not smart. You know what I mean? They're good. They're physical, but they're not smart. They give up too much comes for free plays out of them.
I think they're just very young.
Yeah, well, that's just it. Like 2 years from now, we'll be saying a totally different thing. They're young. They're very, very young. They're all first-year guys. The draft, the whole team came out of the draft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you lost Breece Hall. Michael Carter's banged up. There's this other guy now, Zanavian, whatever his name is. Okay, you saw him go for 100 yards last week. I don't know.
Everyone's
Minnesota
against the Bears.
Huh? What's that?
Everyone's getting stats against the Bears. The way they
but this is not the Bears, and Kirk Cousins, say what you want about him, but these are the damn games he wins. These are the ones.
No.
It's kind of true. Like
these are the ones he wins. These are the ones he wins against a guy who came in for his first start all year, lights it up last week against a piece of shit Bears team who literally had a going out of business sale this year. Okay. So, and now everyone's chanting Mike White, just like they were Bailey Zappi, all this, that, and the other. Now you're playing a Minnesota team who's playing for something. Okay. So
I thought
these are the
I
games.
thought you meant something else. But yeah, Mike White versus 1 p.m. Kirk Cousins, game of the year. Let's see it.
That's what I mean.
No, but Lauren, you pretty much just echoed what I've been saying all week about Mike White. And let me tell you guys something that kind of bothers me. And you guys know I've been very critical of the Vikings pass defense this year. And we're under no illusions. They're good at covering, one of the worst nickelbacks in the league. Okay, we're under no illusions. But someone sends me a long email about my pick this week and says, Vikings got the worst pass defense in this league. Mike White will be able to throw at will. Like, no, because Vikings can still rush the passer. And, Vikings do have a little bit of run-pass balance. I'm not expecting a high-scoring game. I'd like the under, made it a money pick as well. And I am worried about Christian Darrisaw out, but am I missing something? The Jets don't have that elite pass rusher that like Dallas has. They're good in the interior when I look at their D-line. Maybe I'm missing some young rookie on the outside with a speed rush. So I think losing Darrisaw, we saw what the Vikings coach did against the Patriots. He was able to prepare without Darrisaw when he got some notice. I just think Vikings move the ball better. I'm not into this Mike White stuff. Like we got to take what the Bears do on defense with a grain of salt, right?
Yeah.
At a certain point.
It's the whole Bailey Zappi thing. You know what I mean? Like, kudos to Mike White. Like, Zach Wilson, they needed a change there. They needed somebody to spice up that locker room, and they needed somebody that can throw a ball without getting intercepted or throwing it to the other team when there's none of his receivers out there. You know what I mean? So they needed that. But now, I don't know, Minnesota, 1 p.m. at home in their dome against the young Jets. This is where Minnesota thrives.
Yeah, and Lost made a good point about the Jets pass rush not being like, a dominant entity. And that's typically the kind of stuff that rattles Kirk Cousins. Yeah, but still, you have to worry about him going up against this probably top 10, top 5 Jets defense.
Yeah, it's. I don't think top 5 is being crazy. I at this point I do. Yeah, man.
That's why I'm not betting it.
Yeah, makes sense.
You don't know what you're going to get out of Mike White at the end of the day either.
Yeah.
So
And if he does go there and blows it up and, makes something out of a second week, kudos to him. But Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, like they're healthy. Aside from Darrisaw, that team is healthy, where the Jets have just been fighting injury after injury after injury after injury after injury. They're on second, third string everything.
Yeah, and I thought the death blow to the Jets, even though we've never liked Zach Wilson, and now everyone's jumping on the slam Zach Wilson train.
And if
Of
Brees
course.
Hall was still around, I might feel differently.
Ever since that Patriots game.
Yeah,
I
for
agree. Good reason.
Yeah, like I agree, like because with Minnesota they can rush the passer. So you definitely need a little bit of so
and the Jets are now on the road, and they've got just I don't trust that against a Minnesota team that's playing for everything.
All right. Any last words on this week? Because I gotta go. Lauren, are you entering the Patreon contest?
Am I allowed to?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to?
Yeah. I'm posting it tonight, but you'll see it. So
I don't even know what the contest is. I guess I'll have to read it. But is it like go now to
the So it's what we did last year. You played last year. This year I'm giving away the top 3. So I'm gonna list like probably 10 to 12, 10 spreads, maybe 2 over-unders. And then people will eventually tie because we got a lot of people on Patreon. Then I'll go to the next week. So first place wins 500. Second place wins 200. Third place wins 100. I know it's not the high stakes you're used to, but
sure.
Yeah, but
okay.
Yeah. So I just wanted to put that out there. Make sure you hit the like button. Please hit the like button before you leave. It was nice talking to you guys. Good conversation, man.
You guys awesome, too. Man. It was fun, just like always. Go Saints.
Yeah, and go Panthers, man. Bye week, get them healthy.
Yeah, get the week off.
Panthers might go into first place if ever. Well, no, Tampa's playing New Orleans, so can't do that. But we'll see.
You know what? We're in the hunt. That's all.
If you like chaos,
we're all in the hunt, Mike. We're all in the hunt. Okay.
Yeah, but my team had the #1 pick like a month ago, so now we're in the hunt, baby. We're coming.
Hey, man, you were what you've been waiting for, Sam Darnold. Here he is.
I told y'all. I literally
told you've been waiting for Sam Darnold.
I was like, man, Sam Darnold's gonna come in here. He's gonna have the best applause ever, and he's gonna light somebody up. Denver's defense is actually decent too, and he actually played pretty good against them.
We're gonna put cheeks in the seats as soon as Sam Darnold gets there.
Dude, yeah, it was awesome, man. I almost went to that game. I wish I had.
Kudos to you guys. One of those teams is going to make the playoffs. God bless whoever it is.
Yeah.
Hit the like button, share the videos. I gotta go. Patreon users, it's going to be a little bit later this week. But there'll be something up tonight. Hit the like button, share the videos.
Bye, guys. Have a good night. See you later.
See you guys. Gotta go.